Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a truth I learned not from books, but from the lives of the most successful individuals I've ever studied. Your mind is always listening, not just to the world around you, but to you, and the way you speak to yourself, the words you repeat, the images you hold in your thoughts. That is the script your subconscious uses to write your future. What we're talking about today is not positive thinking. It's not affirmations taped to a mirror and forgotten. This is something much deeper, much more powerful. It's called autosuggestion. Now, what is autosuggestion? It is the channel between your conscious thoughts and your subconscious mind. It is how you influence yourself, not through willpower or emotion alone, but through deliberate repetition. You see, the subconscious does not think the way you and I do. It does not argue. It does not question. It accepts repeated thoughts as commands and acts on them. The subconscious doesn't ask, is this true? It asks, is this what we believe? And belief is built by repetition. What you say to yourself, especially with emotion, is the blueprint your mind uses to build your identity, your habits, and your results. Let me give it to you straight. You are always programming your mind. The only question is, are you doing it on purpose? Most people don't. They allow the world to do it for them. They absorb the opinions of others. They replay doubts, fears, and failures like a broken record. And then they wonder why their lives reflect limitation instead of possibility. But when you understand autosuggestion, truly understand it, you realize you can take back control. You can plant thoughts into your mind like seeds in soil, and if you feed them with repetition and feeling, they will grow. Now I want to be clear. This is not magic. This is not tricking your brain. This is training your mind. And like any training, it takes consistency. You don't say something once and expect it to change your life. You say it daily, with clarity, with emotion. You say it until your subconscious no longer resists, but accepts. And once it accepts, that's when the shift happens. That's when your thoughts begin shaping your behavior. That's when hesitation turns into movement. That's when fear starts to fade, because confidence has taken its place. In this series, I'm going to teach you how to use autosuggestion with precision, not just as a motivational tool, but as a mental discipline. And it begins now with a decision. Are you willing to become the author of your own belief system? Are you ready to speak to yourself with the same authority you give the world? Because if you are, then you're about to discover one of the most powerful tools ever placed in the hands of man. The ability to write your own programming and live the results. Let me tell you something that separates those who talk from those who transform. Words without emotion are like arrows without force. They never reach the target. You can repeat 1,000 affirmations, read your goals every morning, and still feel stuck. Why? Because without emotion, your subconscious doesn't listen. It hears you, yes, but it doesn't feel you. And that makes all the difference. Your subconscious mind is not logical. It's emotional. It responds not to the dry content of your words, but to the intensity behind them. The belief, the conviction, the feeling that says, this matters. So here's the truth most people miss. Autosuggestion is not just saying words. It's speaking them with feeling until your soul catches fire. When you declare a goal, don't mumble it. Don't whisper it like a suggestion to the universe. Say it like a man or woman on a mission. Say it like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. Think of emotion as the voltage in your internal wiring. Without it, your thoughts are powerless. With it, they light up your nervous system, energize your actions, and rewire your beliefs. Now, you might say, but what if I don't believe the words yet? That's fine. Belief is not required at the beginning, but repetition with emotion builds belief over time. Let me give you a simple example. You say to yourself, I am confident. I am focused. I am capable. At first, it may feel forced, fake. You might even laugh at it. But if you say it daily, looking yourself in the eye, breathing deeply, activating emotion, you begin to associate those words with your identity. And slowly, the line between repetition and reality starts to blur. That's the genius of autosuggestion. You're not pretending. You're rehearsing a new version of yourself until your subconscious accepts it as truth. Because here's the secret. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined and emotionally repeated. It responds to intensity and frequency. Say it once, it notices. Say it 100 times with conviction, it obeys. You're not waiting for belief, you're building it. Brick by brick, thought by thought, feeling by feeling. This is why every instruction I give you from this point forward will require not just repetition, but emotional repetition. You must feel what you say. You must connect to it. You must let the words move you, or they will never move your life. So the next time you read your goal, don't just read it. Declare it. Close your eyes. Visualize the result. Feel the pride, the excitement, the power. Let that feeling wrap itself around your words. Because when thought and feeling unite, they become belief. And belief, my friend, changes everything. So don't just go through the motions. Speak with fire. Speak with purpose. Speak like you're planting the seed of a new reality. Because you are. And if you do it long enough, and strong enough, and often enough, that seed will grow. If you followed me this far, you already understand that words matter. But now we must go deeper because repetition alone is not enough. Emotion alone is not enough. To make autosuggestion work, you must connect it to something specific. A clear, measurable, and definite goal. Let me put it plainly. Your mind does not respond to vague ideas. It responds to precision. Saying, I want more success, is not enough. Saying, I want a better life, is not enough. Those are wishes, and wishes float away. Your subconscious needs coordinates. It needs a destination. It needs instruction. That's why I insist you write down your goal in exact terms. What you want, when you want it, and what you're willing to give in return. This is not a formality. It is the blueprint your subconscious will follow. You wouldn't expect a builder to construct a house from memory. Why would you expect your mind to build success from scattered thoughts? You must give it the plan. Now here's where autosuggestion comes in. Once you have your written goal, you begin to feed it to your subconscious, not once, but daily. You read it. You speak it. You visualize it. Always in the present tense. Always with emotion. Always as if it's already happening. Let's say your goal is to earn $100,000 within 12 months. Don't say, I hope to make more money this year. Say, I am earning $100,000 by June 1st, 2026. I deliver massive value. I attract clients easily. I am disciplined, focused, and unstoppable. That is instruction. That is command. That is how you begin to mold the invisible into form. And here's what happens when you repeat that kind of statement day after day. You begin to expect it. You begin to act in ways that support it. You begin to reject anything that contradicts it. Your subconscious aligns your behavior, habits, and perception to serve that goal. This is not magic. It is mental alignment. What you repeat becomes familiar. What becomes familiar becomes normal. And what's normal becomes real. Let me say that again. What you repeat becomes familiar. What becomes familiar becomes normal. And what's normal becomes real. Now imagine doing this with intention every single day. You are not just hoping anymore. You are programming. You are not trying. You are aligning. This is how success begins, not in the external world, but inside you, in quiet moments, when you speak your future aloud until your mind believes you. And belief is what triggers everything else. Your job is to plant. Your job is to water. Your job is to repeat. The harvest will come, but only if you've taken the time to build the root. That root is your definite chief aim, repeated daily with emotion through the power of autosuggestion. So if you've been vague in your goals, if you've been repeating general affirmations, if you've lacked structure, now is the time to correct it. Get clear. Get specific. Tie your words to a purpose. Because once your subconscious sees that you're serious, it will begin to open doors you didn't even know existed. Now let's talk about something practical. Let's talk about how autosuggestion actually changes your behavior. Because up to this point, you've learned that you can influence your subconscious by repeating words and images tied to a definite goal. You've learned that emotion gives power to those words. You've learned that belief is built through repetition. But here's the question most people ask next. If I keep repeating these affirmations, when do I start seeing results? Let me give you a powerful answer. You will see results the moment your dominant thoughts begin to shape your actions. Because ultimately, that's what autosuggestion does. It aligns your mindset with your movement. It influences not just what you think, but what you do. You see, the mind and the body are not separate. Your thoughts determine your emotions. Your emotions influence your energy. And your energy decides how you show up, how you respond, how much effort you give, how long you persist. Let me say it plainly. If you change your dominant thoughts, you change your dominant behaviors. Let's say your old inner language was filled with doubt. I'm not ready. I always quit. People like me don't succeed. If those thoughts live in your subconscious, they will control your actions. You'll hesitate. You'll procrastinate. You'll sabotage yourself. But now, let's say you begin to reprogram your mind with intention. I finish what I start. I learn fast. and take bold action. I am worthy of success. You repeat these thoughts with feeling, with clarity, tied to a goal. And suddenly, you start moving differently. You take action faster. You speak with more certainty. You follow through more consistently. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Your subconscious begins to believe the new identity you're feeding it. And once that belief sets in, it demands consistency. Your behavior begins to match your inner expectations. That's when others start to notice. You seem more confident. You've really changed. What happened to you? And you'll know, it wasn't an accident. It was autosuggestion in action. Let me tell you something vital. Autosuggestion is not about convincing the world. It's about instructing yourself. The world will catch up. The world always reflects the strongest signal you're sending. But that signal doesn't come from surface-level thinking. It comes from the core programming inside your subconscious. And that programming is your responsibility. You must choose what loops run in your head. You must decide what story you rehearse every day. Because what you rehearse, you perform. And most people, they're performing a script they didn't even write. It was handed to them by parents, teachers, society, failure, fear. Autosuggestion lets you take the pen back. It lets you say, this is who I am now. This is what I believe now. This is how I act now. And you don't need permission to make that shift. You just need repetition, consistency, and emotional connection to your goal. So if you want to start seeing change, not someday, but now, then pay attention to the thoughts you repeat most often. Because those thoughts are directing your energy. And energy, focused and repeated, becomes behavior. And behavior, sustained over time, becomes results. This is not a motivational slogan. It's a system. It works whether you believe in it or not. But when you do believe in it, when you own it, it works even faster. So take this seriously. Use your affirmations like tools. Use them to instruct your mind, not just inspire your mood. Use them with purpose, with power, with vision, and then watch as your actions rise to meet the identity you've planted. Up to now, we've talked about the creative power of autosuggestion, how it can build confidence, shape identity, and direct action. But now we must talk about the other side, the darker side, the danger of letting your mind drift without discipline. Because make no mistake, autosuggestion works both ways. It can elevate you, or it can destroy you. It can build belief, or embed fear. It can move you forward, or hold you prisoner. Let me be absolutely clear. Every thought you repeat is an instruction. Every phrase you allow to echo becomes a seed. Every emotion you feed grows into habit. If you do not take control of your thoughts, someone or something else will. The world will offer you thousands of ideas every single day, and most of them will not serve you. They will come through news headlines, social media, conversations with doubters, your own memories, and your own insecurities. And if you're not careful, you'll start to repeat those messages without realizing it. You'll say things like, that's just my luck. I can't afford it. I always mess this up. I'm not that kind of person. People like me don't win. You might think these are just harmless expressions, but your subconscious doesn't know the difference. It hears the words. It accepts them through repetition, and it builds your life accordingly. That's the real danger, when negative thoughts become familiar, and then normal, and then reality. You begin to identify with your limitations. You stop reaching. You shrink your dreams to match your fears. And worst of all, you don't even notice it happening. But here's the good news. You can reverse it. If you've been feeding your mind fear, doubt, and limitation, you can stop. You can uproot those thoughts like weeds. You can replace them with better ones. How? With intention, with repetition, with emotion. The same tools that built the wrong belief system can now build the right one. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen if you do the work. Let me remind you, your mind is programmable. It will believe whatever you tell it most often, especially if that message comes with strong emotion. So instead of saying, I can't, start saying, I'm learning. Instead of, I always fail, try, I bounce back stronger. Instead of, this is just who I am, say, I'm becoming who I choose to be. This isn't about pretending. It's about reclaiming control. Because if you don't speak life into your mind, the world will speak fear into it. If you don't install your own belief system, you'll inherit someone else's, and it may be broken. So from this moment on, become ruthless about what you repeat. Eliminate toxic thoughts from your vocabulary. Shut the door on self-sabotage. Refuse to give your energy to ideas that weaken you. And when that old voice of doubt shows up, as it always will answer it with something stronger. Answer it with the voice you've trained through autosuggestion. The voice of purpose. The voice of clarity. The voice of belief. Because belief, repeated with enough conviction, always drowns out fear. So speak powerfully. Think precisely. And never again let your mind wander without your permission. Let me ask you something simple, but life-changing. Do you have a daily system for programming your own mind? Because here's the truth most people never learn. Autosuggestion only works if it becomes a habit, not a moment, not a phase, a habit, a daily discipline. You can't speak with power once a month and expect your subconscious to obey. You can't say your goal once in January and expect results in December. It doesn't work that way. Your mind is shaped by what it experiences repeatedly. And that means you must give it a daily signal strong enough to override the noise of the world. So today, I'm not just telling you to believe. I'm giving you the structure to make belief automatic. Here's the routine I want you to build. It's simple. It's clear. And if you follow it, it will change everything. The daily autosuggestion ritual. 1. Write down your definite goal clearly and specifically. Not just, I want more money, or I want to be successful. Write the exact amount, the deadline, and what you're willing to give in return. Example. I am earning $150,000 by May 1st, 2026, through disciplined work in my business. I provide real value, and I am rewarded abundantly. 2. Read that goal aloud twice a day, morning and night. Not silently, out loud. Let your own voice become a declaration, a command, a statement of fact. 3. Visualize the result as you say it. Don't just speak, see. Imagine the outcome. Feel it in your body. Picture the evidence of success, the bank statement, the moment you celebrate, the life you're living. 4. Add emotion. Turn words into belief. Smile. Breathe deep. Say it with your chest, not your lips. Let your subconscious hear not just the sentence, but the certainty behind it. 5. Repeat this ritual for 5 to 10 minutes every day, without exception. Even when you don't feel like it. Especially then. Because repetition under pressure is what builds strength. Now listen carefully. You may not feel different on day 1. You may not believe it yet. But if you continue, your subconscious will. And when that shift happens, you won't need to force discipline. You won't have to beg for confidence. You won't need to fake belief. It will become automatic. That's what a habit is. The part of you that runs even when motivation doesn't show up. And your goal is to make this ritual as normal as brushing your teeth, as natural as putting on your shoes. It should feel strange not to do it. Because this is not just self-talk. It's not just mental hygiene. This is mental reprogramming. This is rewiring your subconscious, day by day, until your beliefs, your habits, and your results are all working toward the same future. So build this ritual like your life depends on it. Because your future does. And remember, discipline today creates confidence tomorrow. Repetition today builds results next month. Emotion today writes the identity you'll live in next year. Start now. Stick with it. And let your mind follow the path you've chosen, because you chose it every single day. Let me ask you something direct. When life gets hard, who do you listen to first, your doubt or your discipline? Because every one of us walks through life accompanied by a voice. That voice runs constantly, narrating, advising, doubting, encouraging. And here's the truth. The strongest voice you'll ever hear is the one inside your own mind. It can be your best friend or your biggest enemy. And most people don't realize they can choose which one it becomes. You're not born with a positive inner voice. You train it. You teach it how to speak to you. You condition it through repetition and emotion, in other words, through autosuggestion. And the voice you train will be the one that shows up when pressure hits. So when the deal falls apart, when the motivation fades, when everything around you says, stop now, that voice will answer. And it will say either, I knew you'd fail, or, this is temporary. You've got this. Keep moving. That one sentence can change your entire course. Now listen to me carefully. Autosuggestion is not just about ambition. It's about preparation. You are rehearsing the voice you'll hear in crisis. You are building the strength you'll depend on when everything feels uncertain. And you do that now, before the storm comes. You don't train soldiers in the middle of battle. You train them daily, until their instincts take over. And that's exactly what you're doing with your mind. You're teaching it what to say. You're showing it what to believe. You're preparing it to lead you, not betray you, when it matters most. So don't wait for confidence to appear on its own. Build it. Install it. Repeat it. Say the things you wish you believed. until you do. I finish what I start. I stay calm under pressure. I always find a way. I am becoming exactly who I was meant to be. These are not empty slogans. They are mental instructions. They are blueprints for identity. And when repeated daily, they begin to override the noise. You start to notice something incredible. That old critical voice gets quieter. That anxious inner chatter loses power. And the new voice, the one you've trained, takes the lead. This is not delusion. This is design. You're not ignoring reality. You're shaping it from the inside out. So the next time that voice whispers something weak, answer it with something stronger. Something you planted. Something you built. That is the voice of your higher self. That is the voice of your future. That is the voice of a person who no longer lives on accident, but by intention. And once you hear that voice clearly, you won't want to go back. Because now, you finally trust the voice that matters most. Let me share with you something most people get completely backwards. They believe change begins on the outside. They say, when I get the right job, I'll feel confident. When I finally make enough money, I'll think bigger. When life calms down, I'll focus on success. But that's not how lasting transformation works. Real change starts on the inside. Always. Your external world is a mirror. It reflects the beliefs, expectations, and identity you carry on the inside. And nothing shifts out there until something shifts in here. That's why autosuggestion is not just a mindset trick. It's a results strategy. Because the moment your inner dialogue changes, the moment your identity upgrades, the moment your subconscious starts to accept a new version of you, the world around you starts to respond differently. You walk differently. You speak with more conviction. You ask for things you used to shy away from. You make decisions faster. You see opportunities you never noticed before. Why? Because your mind is no longer tuned to lack. It's tuned to possibility. You've trained it to expect progress, to assume growth, to believe in outcomes instead of obstacles. And this inner shift creates what some call luck, but what I call alignment. Doors begin to open because you're knocking on the right ones now. People respond to you with more respect because you speak with authority now. You attract partnerships, clients, mentors, not because of chance, but because of the energy and identity you now project. Let me say it clearly. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And autosuggestion is how you become the version of yourself that's ready for what you want. Think about that. If you want wealth, you must build the mindset of someone who manages it. If you want success, you must develop the habits and focus of someone who creates it. If you want to lead, you must believe your voice matters before others follow it. And this can't be faked. Not for long. Your subconscious runs the show. And if it still holds outdated beliefs of scarcity, failure, and unworthiness, they will sabotage your efforts. That's why repetition is non-negotiable. Daily autosuggestion is the process of replacing the old programming, line by line, with something better, something aligned, something powerful. And once that new code is installed, your external reality begins to match it. It starts small. You wake up with more focus. You finish tasks you used to avoid. You reach out instead of hesitate. You move forward instead of stall. But over time, these small shifts compound. And suddenly, the results others chase begin chasing you. Not because of luck, not because of some secret, but because your thoughts, emotions, words, and actions are now saying the same thing. And that kind of alignment, it's magnetic, it's productive, it's unshakable. So if you're waiting for the world to change, stop. Change yourself. Use your words. Use your repetition. Use your voice. Do the inner work. And the outer world will have no choice but to catch up. There's a powerful truth I want you to understand now. Your subconscious mind never stops working. While you rest, it works. While you sleep, it listens. While you live your life, distracted, busy, overwhelmed, it keeps running in the background, shaping everything you experience. This means one very important thing. You must be intentional about what you give it, because it doesn't know how to reject. It only receives. Your subconscious is not your judge. It does not weigh pros and cons. It does not say, is this good for us? Or, is this true? It simply says, understood. And once it accepts an idea, whether you meant to feed it that idea or not, it starts working to turn it into reality. This is why I say, the real danger is not what you know you're thinking, but what you allow yourself to absorb unconsciously. Every joke about failure, every song full of negativity, every complaint you casually repeat, every story you tell that reinforces limitation. It all gets stored. It all gets processed. It all becomes part of the code. So here's the question. Are you programming your mind on purpose? Or are you letting the world do it for you? You see, the power of autosuggestion isn't just in what you say consciously. It's in the fact that your subconscious keeps running long after you've stopped speaking, and that includes during your sleep. Think about this. If the last thing you tell yourself before sleep is, "I'm overwhelmed. I'll never get it all done. Tomorrow's going to be hard," then your subconscious takes that input and rehearses it all night long. But if instead you say, "I rest deeply and wake up strong. I am preparing for a powerful day. My mind is resetting for clarity and creativity," then your mind works for you while you sleep. So here's my suggestion. Make autosuggestion part of your bedtime ritual. Repeat your goals before bed. Affirm your identity. Visualize success, calm, growth, whatever matters most right now. Let those thoughts be the final command your subconscious receives before it goes to work overnight. Because that mind of yours? It's like a powerful assistant that works 24 hours a day, but it only works with the instructions you provide. You don't have to micromanage it, but you do have to feed it properly. Be especially mindful of what you allow in during quiet moments. The first minutes after waking, the last before sleep. Those are your most impressionable states and the most powerful times to use autosuggestion. So speak carefully. Feed wisely. Be deliberate. The subconscious never rests, but it does wait for instruction. Make sure you're the one giving it. Now that you've walked with me through the power of autosuggestion, let me leave you with one final truth. You are either programming your mind or being programmed by the world. There is no in-between. Every day you either give your subconscious clear instructions, or you allow fear, doubt, noise, and distraction to do it for you. Let's be honest, the world is not neutral. It's full of voices. Voices selling fear. Voices feeding doubt. Voices pushing limitation as realism. And if you don't intentionally speak louder within yourself, those voices win. But now you know better. You've seen the power of repetition. You understand that belief is not something you wait for. It's something you build. Through your words, through your emotion, through your daily focus. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the author of the thoughts you rehearse, and therefore, the architect of the life you live. So the question becomes, will you take control of the script? Will you give your mind something better to believe? Because here's the secret. Your subconscious will believe anything you feed it. If you feed it often enough, emotionally enough, and clearly enough, it doesn't care if it's a truth or a lie. It only cares if it's consistent. And once it accepts a thought as truth, it works day and night to make it real. This is not theory. This is not wishful thinking. This is how every lasting change begins. Let's review what you now have in your hands. You know how to craft a clear, definite goal. You know how to speak it with emotion. You know how to repeat it daily. You know how to build a new identity from the inside out. You know how to replace fear with certainty. You know how to use autosuggestion as a tool, a habit, and a weapon. So what's left? Decision, discipline, consistency. You already have the voice. Now you must choose the message. Make your morning a declaration. Make your nights a rehearsal for greatness. Make your mind a space that obeys your command, not a sponge for the chaos of the world. Because the truth is simple. If you don't choose your thoughts, someone else will. If you don't speak your future, someone else will write it for you. If you don't install your beliefs on purpose, you'll inherit beliefs by accident. And no one ever lived an extraordinary life by accident. So let this be the beginning. Today, not tomorrow. Right now, not someday. Choose your thoughts. Write your goal. Repeat it with fire. Visualize it with precision. Feel it until it becomes natural. Live it until it becomes real. Your subconscious is listening. What will you tell it?